what are you expecting in terms of the immediate impact? We've all been looking at ways of, especially the NSE authorities, of reviving this market, creating more liquidity, more debt, more instruments, more options as well. What are your expectations?
What I think is that this new index will encourage a lot of Muslims to be able to approach the market without having to go through the rigors of further analysis. Now, this was the same experience in India prior to 2006. The Indian government realized that they were not maximizing their financial inclusion strategy, and they discovered that a lot of their Muslim population stayed away from the market. And because of that, they set up a committee. It was the Sakan Committee. And it came out with a report by the end of 2006 that said, okay, they should encourage the implementation of a Sharia-compliant index. And that will make it for Muslim people, those who are educated and those who are not educated, to easily access the market. And they implemented this. You know why? Within 5 years, that index had already outperformed the Indian Stock Exchange index by 30%, and it had performed the second index by about 25%. So it goes to show that there can be an impact that probably can be immediate. But in the case of Nigeria, we just launched yesterday. I think we'll be in a better position over the time, probably in the next 1 year, to see how this thing has performed in terms of bringing more investors into the market who otherwise would not have come.
Do you think that will happen? Are you optimistic that that would happen?
I am
maybe not to having India's figures, but something significant.
I am absolutely positive that that will happen. You know what people don't like? They don't like to go into a market where you have about 200 and something stocks, and you are not in a position to determine those that are Sharia compliant or that are compliant with your religious beliefs. I think we should also extend it to other religions. That's why I said, as long as the window is open to other people. Some might come and say, this is what I believe should be my investment strategy. I don't want to go into any industry that is in the manufacturing. I just want to stay in financial services industry. We have financial services fund. So I think this is more, the resistance to this probably is more of sentiment than economics of it. I'm more interested in the economics of it, and I'm more interested in the market getting more robust, having more depth. And like I said, this index is just a starting point. Participants in the market will now begin to create, financial products around this index, and that is where we really know the value of this. But I believe it's going to encourage more financial inclusion in the capital market.
Okay, apart from financial inclusion, the whole issue of market confidence, investors' confidence, liquidity, well, you're not too sure about the issue of liquidity.
No, one thing is sure. Two things will help the market: confidence and liquidity. Confidence is returning rather, because of the new approach that we're seeing by the new leadership of the stock exchange. It's a new day, people are thinking. But now, for liquidity to return, the liquidity must come from those who have not been coming to the market prior to now, and it must also come from the locals as well as the international.
No, well, they
internationals are already coming in.
No,
but one thing is sure. We have a lot of international funds coming into our market, and that has been happening for the past 10, 15 years, a large chunk of it. But we have not seen a lot of Islamic funds coming in. And I can tell you, we need those funds for our market to grow.
Okay, Wale says we need those funds. What is your own biggest concern or fear for the markets?
Yes.
As regards the market only, not...
No, you see, Esther, you invited me to this program, so please let me speak what I have to say to correct some of the wrong impressions that Wale has created. This is not about sentiment alone. Okay. Let me tell you why it doesn't make economic sense. It is a fallacy to say that Muslims have been excluded from the capital market because there's no Sharia index. And let me tell you why. Go and take a look at who are the investors. If most of the Muslims are investing, look, go and check. Habib Bank started an Islamic product. Habib Bank was later taken over by Platinum Bank because there was no patronage. Lotus Capital itself has been in business since June 2004. Go and check their results. How many Muslims have invested in Lotus Capital Halal Fund? It's a fallacy to claim that Muslims are excluded from it. That's a major lie, and it's a major fallacy that this is about inclusion. It is not about inclusion.
It's not about financial inclusion.
No, it is about an Islamic agenda by the governor of the central bank who has been driving Islamic finance in the system. Let me say, look, listen, Lotus Capital. How many Muslims are invested? How many investors? You know, he's said head of. I mean, he's been doing this, talking about Sukuk for a long time. He pushed the DMO to try to bring.
Yeah, but this is the NSE. He's not on the board.
Yes,
he doesn't advise them.
We know his influence is in this market. He's the central bank governor. He heads the supreme financial regulator in the system. And I mean, we're in the market now. We are players in the industry. The point is that this is not about financial inclusion. This is about an agenda to promote one religion over others and project a religion above others. There is no evidence to support the fact that Muslims are excluded. I already told you. Halal, go and check Lotus results. How much funds are they controlling with all the billionaire Muslims? Go and check the banks. How come Jaiz Bank couldn't raise 25 billion to start Islamic Bank? Because they are not even. This is all. It is even hypocritical because Muslims are not genuinely looking for these things. That is the truth and that's the reality, and we know it in the market. Now, let me tell you another economic factor. Is it right to now stigmatize or consciously stigmatize the securities that are not listed as Sharia compliant? Because what you've done is that you are saying that these other securities that we've not listed in this fund are not Sharia compliant, and by so doing, you've stigmatized them. That's what you've done. That's what you've done. That's why I'm saying that the emphasis should have been ethical index. So if you are not interested in investing,
for you, it's just the name. Perhaps
it's not just the name. It's not just the name matters. But I'm saying that look at the fund. What is driving this? And you say you are talking about bringing in Islamic funds, Muslim money and all that. Why I laugh is that what is the evidence that those Islamic funds have helped their own countries? Look at check.
Why don't you just give us some statistics from India? How it helped India?
I wish he brought the figures for us to show to see it. Go to IMF website, go to World Bank website, and see the performance of the world countries. Tell me where those Islamic countries are. So we keep bringing. In fact, let me tell you, the people that are pushing this are even not being sentimental. And they're not being realistic and they're not being truthful to Nigerians.
Okay, so going forward, you're obviously not optimistic about this index. So you don't forecast, you don't see it being successful. Is that what you're saying in the long run?
It is dead on arrival. It is dead on arrival. Because what NSC should be doing is to think about how to bring inclusion of all Nigerians. Whether you are Muslim, whether you are Christian, whether you are Buddhist, whether you are animist. NSC should have started an ethical index. And then that is all is needed. What is all this talk about Sharia compliance?
Well, Wale, going forward, I mean, we're looking at the future of the market.
Let me just say one thing before I go forward. Okay. I agree with AIS to the point that there has been no law that precludes Muslims from investing in existing stocks without the presence of this index that we're talking about. But sometimes in economics, there is a principle that says supply creates its own demand. And what it means is that even when we didn't have this exclusion, chances are that if we bring in this product and other products that will be sensitive to other religious beliefs, chances are that it might really bring the inclusion. So it can be interpreted the other way around. But having said that, I would rather say, for me, I understand the fact that we should have started with an ethical fund, but
as a market operator in the market, you agree with that? You should perhaps.
No. I'm not saying. I'm saying I understand his position that we should have started with an ethically characterized fund, not necessarily religiously characterized. But I have not seen anything that offends or that is so offensive in characterizing something as a Sharia or Islamic that stops any other person from projecting their own religion.
Okay,
and mind you, this is how the truth of the matter is. This is how it is.
As a market operator, have you heard? What's word on the street? You're a player at the market. What's the word on the street? Do you think is there more opposition? What are people embracing it? Are more people embracing it?
Well, I've not taken that research. I've not. It just started. This is still very fresh.
Last month, the MOU.
We
heard about it. It was in the news. We carried it.
When it was in the news, I didn't see a lot of comments.
Because
in the negative territory,
most people only heard about it on Friday.
No, I had talked about it on this program when the MOU was signed, and we talked about the fact that very soon it would be eventually launched, and that's what happened yesterday. So, looking at the markets,
people are reacting negatively.
What's the general sentiment? We have to wait.
We need to wait to know that.
Because I'm thinking
it's very presumptuous to say this is what people are liking, but we have to wait.
But see, this issue about market, the supply creating its own demand. I just give you an example. Are Muslims falling over themselves to patronize Lotus investments?
Perhaps for this index, like you both of you have said, perhaps let's just wait for, let's see.
Had this product before. AIB, African International Bank, had a similar product. There is no demand for the product. That's the reality. Go and check the books of Lotus. How many Muslims have they gotten funds from?
Okay, well,
that's the
reality. There is no. You see, that's something that this idea of supply creating its own demand.
Okay, let's
it's a fallacy.
That comment,
yes,
that comment, is fine. I mean, probably the growth has not been comparable to other, investment outlets like that. But what is important is that even if you have a fund that is not ethical or is not religious, if that fund is not on the exchange, chances are that people will not put money, because what drives people to put money in an investment is the liquidity. You must be able to enter and exit anytime you want to leave that investment. So this should add liquidity to their product, and that is where we can begin to assess, the acceptability of this product and whether a lot of people will flock around it. Let's also not make the mistake. People who are not Muslims can invest in it. I don't think there's any law that precludes that. Sharia compliant is to the extent of the market analysis. Okay. Is to the extent of the of the mix of the investments in the basket, okay, and other things. It does not say you must be a Muslim before you can invest, but just saying if you are somebody who likes to invest in an ethical fund that does not put money in gambling and stuff like that, it's good for you.